Okay, so you know how we've been talking about the future of AI? Well, get this. Today, we're diving right into whether AI could actually replace, well, AI engineers.
Haha. Yeah, it's a question I get asked a lot these days, and the research we're looking at today, well, let's just say it gives us a lot to think about.
For sure. Especially since it's coming straight from OpenAI, the masterminds behind ChatGPT, and they're basically trying to see if AI can do the whole machine learning engineer thing, but, without us humans.
Exactly. They've actually built this thing called MLE-bench, which is basically like imagine a massive coding exam, but just for AI agents.
Okay, so we're not talking about some theoretical AI playing tic-tac-toe, right? These are real problems with real data.
Oh, absolutely. We're talking healthcare, environmental science, even trying to decipher ancient scrolls, the real deal. They actually had AI try to predict, like, COVID vaccine degradation, which was a seriously intense Kaggle competition a while back.
Wow. Okay, so even though there aren't any trophies being handed out, the stakes are still pretty high in terms of what this says about what AI can, actually do. And I got to ask, did they throw ChatGPT in the ring for this?
Oh, they definitely brought out the big guns. They tested GPT-4, which is like ChatGPT's, super smart older sibling in the research world. But they didn't stop there. They also threw Google's Gemini, Meta's Llama, and Anthropic's Claude into the mix.
Whoa, talk about an AI all-star team. So who came out on top? Who's the reigning champ?
So OpenAI's own creation, this model called O1 Preview, kind of stole the show. But here's the thing. It wasn't just the AI itself. It was how it was used. They paired it with this system called AID, and that seemed to make all the difference.
Okay, wait, AID? Like, are we talking about like a coding first aid kit or something?
Yeah. It's kind of like that, actually. Think of it this way. If you give a brand new chef a fully decked out professional kitchen, they're going to have a much better shot at creating something incredible, right? Like, the tools alone don't guarantee a Michelin star meal, but they sure help. That's basically what AID does for these AI models. It gives them the tools, the structure, the scaffolding to tackle these crazy, complex challenges.
Ah, okay, so it's not just about raw AI brain power, but also about how well they can actually use the tools at their disposal. Starting to sound a lot like us humans, right?
Exactly. And the study found that O1 Preview, when it had AID in its corner, consistently outperformed all the other models. In fact, it was even able to achieve the same level of performance as a Kaggle bronze medalist in almost 17% of the competitions.
Okay, now 17% might not sound like, total AI domination, at least not yet.
Okay.
But let's be real here. We're not talking about someone who just signed up for Kaggle yesterday.
No, not at all. To even get a bronze medal on Kaggle, you're already beating out a ton of really skilled competitors. These aren't just participation trophies, they actually mean something. We're talking about a solid understanding of machine learning and the ability to apply it effectively.
Okay, so AI is already at the point where it can go toe-to-toe with, like, legit human experts in these really complicated machine learning challenges.
Yeah.
Color me impressed. But I have to imagine it can't be all smooth sailing in the world of AI, right? There's got to be a catch.
You're right. There are definitely a few areas where, let's just say, AI still has some learning to do. The research actually found that even the top-performing models really struggled with tasks that humans find pretty easy.
Ooh, okay. Spill the tea. What is it that trips up these AI masterminds?
Debugging, for one. You know how it is. You're trying to find a tiny error in a massive code library. Humans are weirdly good at that, but AI still really struggles with effective debugging.
Ugh, yeah, I've been there staring at my screen for hours over one missing semicolon. Okay, so debugging, what else are these AI agents fumbling with?
Another big one is adapting to resource constraints. In the real world, you don't always have endless computing power or time. Sometimes you have to get creative, find workarounds, and that's where AI tends to hit a wall.
So that classic human ingenuity is still giving us an edge, huh?
Exactly. AI is amazing at following instructions and optimizing within the rules, but true innovation, that spark of creative problem-solving, well, that's still under construction.
It's like they aced all the coding exams, but haven't quite figured out how to use that knowledge in the real world.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. And this research, it's not just about, making AI that's more powerful. It's about understanding how it actually thinks, and where it trips up.
Which brings me to something I've been wondering about. How do we even know that these AI agents are playing fair in these competitions?
Yeah.
Like, what's to stop them from just Googling the answers or, doing some sneaky code copying?
That's a very good question, and it's something that the OpenAI researchers definitely thought about. They actually built some pretty clever safeguards right into MLE-bench.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Because I'm all for a fair fight, especially when it comes to, robots potentially taking over the world. Or at least passing all our coding exams.
Yeah, right, exactly. So first of all, there's this rule. The AI can't just write the answers directly into the submission file. It has to actually build and train a completely separate AI model that then generates those predictions.
Oh, wow. So it's like, what is it, a double-blind study, but for AI?
Yeah.
That's really interesting. They're not just spitting out memorized answers.
Exactly. And to prevent any funny business with the code, they use this tool called, get this, Dolos. It basically analyzes the AI-generated code and compares it to, like, this massive database of past Kaggle solutions. And if there's any suspicious overlap, the AI is basically flagged for potential cheating.
Wow. So it's like a super-powered plagiarism checker, but specifically designed for AI. That's actually really clever. But even with all these safeguards in place, it still makes you think, if AI is already this good at this stuff, where will it be in, 5 years, 10 years? What would the AI Olympics even look like by then?
I know, right? It's the million-dollar question, isn't it? If we're already seeing AI hitting, bronze medal performance in almost 17% of these challenges now, imagine where that number will be in a decade. It's both super exciting and, I don't know, a little bit daunting.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, before we go too far down that rabbit hole, let's back up for a second. We know that OpenAI's model took the gold medal. But what about the other contenders? Did any of them come close?
Oh, they definitely put up a good fight. But it's interesting because the type of scaffolding they had, remember, those are the tools we talked about, actually played a huge role in how well they did.
Right. Like having a well-stocked toolbox versus, just a rusty screwdriver. So which scaffolding systems were in the running, and did any of them really stand out besides AID?
They also tested out a couple more general-purpose systems called MLab and OpenHands. Think of them more like those multi-purpose tool sets you can get.
Okay, got it. And how did those measure up against AID, which is, more specialized?
Yeah. Well, it turned out that AID consistently led to the best performance, across the board. And that kind of suggests that these specialized tools might be super key for AI to really excel in certain areas. It's kind of like the difference between, say, a basic toolkit and a surgeon's, custom set of instruments.
Right. Specialized tools for specialized AI. I like it. So AID was definitely the MVP of scaffolding in this case. But were there any other interesting findings about, the AI models themselves? Anything about, how they learn or adapt?
Yeah, actually. One really fascinating thing they found was how the AI's performance changed when they were given, more attempts at a problem. Think of it like having multiple tries to pass a really tough exam.
Oh, so they basically let the AI retake the test. I'm all for second chances, but did it actually make a difference?
It did, and a much bigger difference than you might think. They found that when GPT-4, the model behind ChatGPT, was given 6 attempts at a problem instead of just 1, its chances of getting a medal basically doubled.
Wow, okay, so persistence pays off, even for AI, huh? But I wonder, does that mean that they're just, brute forcing their way to success by just trying over and over again? Or is it, actual intelligence at work?
It's definitely more nuanced than just, random guessing. Remember, with every attempt, the AI is analyzing its mistakes, refining its code, and trying out new approaches. It's a process of what's called iterative learning, which is basically learning and improving based on past experiences.
So less random guessing and more practicing a skill over and over until they get it right.
Exactly. And the researchers even observed what seemed like genuine creativity and problem solving in some of the AI's later attempts. And this suggests that with even more experience, AI could come up with even more innovative solutions.
Okay, that is both super impressive and, I'll be honest, a tiny bit intimidating. It's like watching the student surpass the teacher.
It really highlights the amazing learning potential of AI. But it's important to remember that it's not, unlimited. Even with all these advancements, there are still certain areas where these AI agents struggled.
Okay, you got to tell me. What tripped up these AI Einsteins? Where did they fall short? Give it to me straight.
Yeah.
What's their AI Achilles heel?
So resource management got them, every time. Remember how we were saying in the real world, you don't have, unlimited computing power or time.
Right.
You have to get smart, optimize your code, and sometimes you just got to work with what you've got.
Work smarter, not harder.
Right.
Sounds like a tough lesson for, everyone, including AI.
Totally. And the thing is, the AI models, they just didn't seem to get that. They often just completely failed to consider how long their code would actually take to run or how much memory it would need.
Oh, no.
Yeah, they'd write these crazy complex programs and then they would just totally fall apart because they hit, the resource ceiling.
It's like trying to fit an elephant into a tiny little clown car.
Exactly. Something's gonna give, right? And just like you wouldn't try to edit a huge Hollywood movie on a, 10-year-old laptop, AI needs to learn that there are, limits.
Right, right.
Being able to work within those constraints, that's a big area where they need to, step up their game.
Makes sense. So, okay, resource management, check. What else did these AI prodigies need a little help with?
The other big one, which we have touched on a bit earlier, is debugging. Writing code is one thing, but getting that code to actually work perfectly,
Oh, tell me about it.
that's a whole other story.
Yeah.
Even really experienced programmers, they spend a surprising amount of time just debugging.
I know, right? I actually spent a whole day once trying to figure out a bug in my code, and it turned out I had just used the wrong type of bracket.
Oh, no.
I know. I was like, are you kidding me?
It's always the little things, right? And for some reason, humans are weirdly good at spotting those tiny errors, those little inconsistencies that can just bring a whole system crashing down. But AI, even with all its, processing power and everything, it's still figuring that out.
Huh. So even though they can, process information so fast, they haven't quite mastered the art of the bug hunt. That's, I don't know, kind of comforting in a weird way.
I know, right? It really shows that humans still have, this unique cognitive advantage, But it also makes you wonder, if AI is already this capable, even with these, limitations, what happens when those limitations are, fixed?
Yeah, that's the big, scary question hanging over all of this, isn't it? What does it mean for, everything? Our jobs, research, even just, the future of AI safety?
It's a lot to wrap your head around, and there are definitely not any easy answers. But this research, if anything, it really highlights how important it is to develop AI responsibly, It's not just about making it more powerful, but making sure that it's also transparent, ethical, and aligned with, human values.
So less about, hitting the brakes on all the progress and more about making sure that, we're steering the ship in the right direction.
Yeah. Exactly. And that's going to take, constant research, open conversations, and a willingness to just, adapt as AI keeps evolving.
Yeah.
It's a journey we're all on together.
That's a good way to put it. A journey into a future that's, full of potential and a little bit, unnerving.
For anyone listening who might be just tuning in to our deep dive into the world of AI, what would you say is the one big takeaway you want them to remember?
I think the biggest thing to remember is that what we've talked about today, it's just a tiny glimpse of where AI is right now. And the crazy part is that it's only going to get more capable, more sophisticated. This isn't the finish line. This is just the starting point.
So buckle up, everybody. The future of AI is going to be a wild ride.
You got that right. And the more we all understand about its potential, the good and the, maybe not so good, the better prepared we'll all be for whatever comes next. Well said. And on that note, we'll leave you with this final thought-provoking question to ponder. If AI can already compete with humans in almost 17% of these complex machine learning challenges, just imagine where it'll be in a decade. What will the AI Olympics even look like then? And will we even stand a chance? It's definitely something to think about.
For sure. Thanks for having me. It's been great chatting with you about all of this.
Oh, the pleasure was all ours.
Yeah.
And to everyone listening, thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and never stop asking questions.